The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency. Hey anglers, the Fisherman Surf and Inshore Fishing Show is Wednesday, September 12th at the Huntington Hilton. See seminars by the region's best surf and inshore experts. First 500 through the doors receive a goodie bag worth more than the price of admission. Check out the free workshops and see more than 75 vendors with the latest fishing gear. Don't miss this opportunity to get ready for the fall run. Visit thefisherman.com for more information. Hopefully this is the last heat wave for a while. If you're free from parades, barbecues, and other social commitments over the long holiday weekend, and don't forget getting the kids ready for the start of the school year, there are fish to be caught. The later part of the weekend appears to be the best bet for boaters, while east winds tomorrow and Saturday might spur on some surf action on the east end. And remember, the bag limit for sea bass goes from 3 fish to 7 fish on Saturday throughout to the end of the year. Party and charter boat anglers see their porgy bag limits go from 30 fish to 45 fish on Saturday through October 31st when it returns back down to 30 fish. As always, remember, only keep what you need and return the rest. The offshore forecast looks a little lumpy for the weekend, but elsewhere should be fishable. Remember, always check the latest marine forecast before you head out on the water. On the east end, striped bass fishing on the August moon saw many big bass taken, especially at Block Island, also in the race. Captain Mike of the Primetime 3 out of Orient reported all hell broke loose on Saturday night aboard the Genglow, with Rich Knopf landing 13 big bass from 35 to 52 pounds himself. Len Britton caught his first ever bass of 47 pounds and followed it up with fish to 52 and 45 pounds. Not a bad way to start a striped bass career. Same night, the pool aboard the Primetime 3 was split by a pair of 50-pounders. Big news from the South Fork, where Ken at Tight Lines Tackle in Sag Harbor told us of weak fish as thick as fleas in Noyak Bay and the middle grounds in Peconic Bay, with fish to 10 pounds. Most of the fish range between 3 and 5 pounds. High-low rigs with squid strips are the way to go for these weeks. Now let's check in with our latest correspondent, Mike Dean from Shinnecock. Mike, what do you got?
Thanks, Tim. Fishing here in Shinnecock remains pretty solid. There's some keeper fluke to be taken in Shinnecock Bay on bucktails tipped with gulp. A lot of sea robins, a lot of shorts, but the action is steady. Out at the reef, good-sized sea bass and porgies are being taken when the weather cooperates. This weekend looks good for a trip out there. Also in the surf, there's some small stripers, and also don't be scared to try to get some of those triggerfish in the rocks on clams. We had quite a trophy one last week at 6¼ pounds.
On the South Shore, I fished with my good friend Anthony de Blasio this week, and we did a number on the short fluke and sea robins with bucktails and gulp, but no keepers. On Wednesday, Captain Al Lorenzetti put his charter on the fish with fluke to 10½ pounds, fishing the same area I fished 2 days earlier. What a difference a pro makes. Nikki Fishing Girl checked in and let me know the bigger fluke or around the reef. Also mixed in are some big porgies and sea bass. She added some small mahi have been taken in the same area, according to the Laura Lee. In the West End, Bill Witchie at Combs Bait and Tackle in Amityville said the Atlantic Beach and Hempstead Reefs, Cholera, and the McAllister Grounds are providing solid mixed bag action for sea bass, porgies, triggerfish, and fluke. Fluke fishing in the bay has slowed, but some decent fluke are still in the inlet on the top of the incoming. Weak fish to 6 pounds are at the Copeg Hole and in the State Channel at Gilgo, taking soft plastics very early in the morning before the boat traffic shuts things down. News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Olin caught these nice fluke at the Rockaway Reef. Oops, those were from his Nantucket trip, Land of the Giants. Here's what he caught at the reef. He and his buddy Frankie Fillet caught their limit with fish to 23 inches. Now let's check in with Captain Joey Leggio, who has clearly been on the water too long.
Thank you, Tim. The reports out of Deb's Inlet, it's pretty cool what's going on out there. Spoke to my buddy Joey. They went out, fished between the Cholera and the Yankee, somewhere around there. No spots were given, but 2 16-year-old kids went out there like in a 22-foot center console. They did a shark drift. They had a beautiful 290 thresher, and they also had a hammerhead shark. 2 days prior to that trip, they were out trolling in the same area. They actually caught a white marlin and released it. That's pretty cool for enclosed fishing. You know, we're talking anywhere from 10 to maybe 15 miles from the inlet, Jones Inlet. Other than that, the collar banks is loaded. Guys are fluke fishing. While they're fluke fishing, they're tossing spearing over and they're catching mahi-mahi. So that's pretty cool, you know. You don't really get to see that much fluke fishing, and also having the rods bend over with some nice mahi-mahi to go home for the dinner table. Over on the wrecks, it's all the same. There is so much life, so much porgies. There's triggerfish, porgies, sea bass. The dreaded banded rudderfish is coming out from under the boat and attacking the lures too. But you know, it's just action. It's great fun for the kids. Get out there, you know, simple high-low rigs like I said before, and clams, and just catch them up. You will fill the coolers. There's tons of action. The fluke again this time of the year. They're heading off all around the structures. Plenty of fish, and you know, find a body of fish. Go back, mark that man overboard button. Don't forget to hit it and just work that area, because they're going to be in a certain area. They might not be, you know, in one area, and all of a sudden, boom, you find them. Work that area that you find those fish, and work it hard, because you will put a catch together.
Now let's check in with Luke Feeney.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, folks. Now, I'm usually reporting on Jamaica Bay, but this week I'm on vacation in Lake George, and I figured that since Lake George has such a great fishery, that instead of not doing a report this week, I would report on the great fishery here in Lake George. The last few days I've been here, the smallmouth bite has been really solid. If you try, don't be afraid to get into the deeper water, 25 feet plus. You can use a variety of bait, from live crawfish and minnows to soft plastics such as smaller Kitex and Zoom flukes. Some of the best places to target these smallmouth are by the rock hazard buoys, where the rock drops off into the deeper water. Also, the waters off Dome Island and Sagamore Island hold a great amount of smallmouth. So grab some bait and a sliding weight to get down, find some deeper rocks, and have a ball with the smallmouth. Nighttime here presents a whole bunch of new opportunities. After dark, you can use small night crawlers, a weight, and some 15-pound leader to catch small catfish. There are many catfish here, and you could also catch bass, perch, and bluegill doing this at night. All you need is a weight, a few hooks, and some worms to have a blast at night. At night as well, there have been some big pike cruising by the docks feeding on bluegill and perch. Although I have not caught one of them, I believe if you put a live bluegill out as bait, you have a pretty good shot at hooking one of these freshwater bluefish. Out in the middle in the deep water, around 200 feet, guys are catching big lake trout using downriggers with soft plastics and live shiners as well. Many charter guys are catching some nice salmon in the deeper water, in the north part of the lake, on some deep rock piles. Don't forget, you can use a small hook and a piece of worm off any dock and have a blast with bluegills and perch. It is fun and entertaining.
We now go way west and check in with Mike Mangual.
Hey Tim, hey Fishermen, hope all is well. The dog days of summer are here. August can't get any hotter than today, I guess. 101 reading on my dashboard in my truck. Well, last night guys, we went out for striped bass, live eeling, hit some structure down in the New York side. No luck at all. Tons of bait splashing, bunker, peanut bunker. Even birds were splashing, but nothing underneath them. So striped bass right now, maybe a little bit too hot. I'll keep working them with eels, see what happens. Might get one here sporadically. As far as fluking goes, lots of shorts again. You gotta hit deep water, deep structure if you want the big ones. Also, as far as porgy wise goes, for the first time, it's been very sporadic. You hit multiple rock piles, multiple buoys. You're gonna get skunked sometimes. A lot of short ones, and believe it or not, you get the occasional cow nose ray. Nobody wants those. They drag your line, you lose gear, it's not fun. But as far as snapper blues goes, get your kids out there, get your family members out there, tons of fun, I'm telling you, tons of fun. Sea robins also, getting between 2.5 to 3 pounds. Quality eating fish, you cut the tails off, skillet, you're good to go. A little bit of butter, you're good to go guys. Try them out if you haven't. Sea robins are out there, so they're definitely a good table fare.
Another new correspondent this week is reporting from Hempstead Harbor. Aaron, what do you got?
Hey guys, Aaron Doris reporting for Hempstead Harbor. The fishing has been so-so, with mostly snappers and porgies and the occasional cocktail blue. The snappers are mostly falling for snapper zappers as well as spearing on a hook, which seems to be the bait, and they are everywhere. But if you want to catch a little bigger, you want to try using a diamond jig or a bigger spoon, because the cocktail blues seem to be targeting the baby peanut bunker, which are all over the harbor. The porgy action has probably been the best it's been all summer, with 2-pound porgies coming from Prival's dock. Tappan Beach and Tappan Pier, as well as Tappan Rocks and Morgan's Park, have been producing very good porgy action. Most anglers are limiting out. The fluke bite has died down. Most anglers that are getting keepers are going offshore, and the occasional bluefish are offshore. Till next week, Aaron Duras reporting for Hempstead Harbor.
Further east in the Sound, we have Peter Tarnowski reporting.
Thanks, Tim. I'm reporting on the Eaton's Neck area this week where the fluke and sea bass bite has slowed down a little bit, but the bluefish bite is definitely on. These yellow-eyed devils have been feasting on the bunker schools in the area, in the triangle area, and my friends and I have been having a blast watching our poppers get exploded on the second they touch the water. This popper was brand new when I went out. You can see it is now properly christened. Just look for the bunker that's being hit on. Sometimes you'll see a big mass moving in the water. That's a bunker school running from bluefish. The bluefish will catch up, surround it, and then start blasting away. Just keep casting your poppers, and you're going to get hit. It's nice just watching them come right out of the water, attacking the poppers. And you never know, you might get lucky. My buddies caught a 20-pound striper the other day while going for these bluefish. So it's a lot of fun, and you never know, you might end up with a striped bass as well. Hopefully this action is going to continue. I think it will. It's been for the last few days. It's been a lot of fun. Back to you, Tim.
From Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle, let's check in with Captain Mark McGowan.
Thanks, Tim. This weekend was tough conditions for anglers in the Huntington Bay, Eaton's Neck area. Complete opposite of the previous week where we had a cold front move in and change some of the temperatures. The hot temperatures combined with the full moon left a lot of bait in the water, tons of peanut bunker, spearing everywhere, killies, bluefish, snappers, a lot of activity, but almost no drift. Great technique was to switch over to high-low rigs dressed with squid skirts with multiple colors, varying to see which was a hot one in that particular spot to catch fish, tipped with stringy pieces of clam and thin squid strips to create some type of action. You could use a spinning pole and cast out and work it back to the boat. Chances are you were catching larger fish than those that might be standing next to you. A lot of small porgies came out this weekend as opposed to the larger ones, but there were some big plates that were caught, and that seemed to be when the tide was starting to move. You either had no tide or too much tide. There was really a switch that came on and off, making fishing kind of tough. Small cocktail blues up to 4 pounds are making a heavy showing along the Asherokan beaches and the Eaton's Neck area by the brush pile. They're following what appears to be a multitude of schools of peanut bunker. I would stick to these areas if you're looking for a little more steady action, and keep your eyes out for false albacore that are going to be bound to show up soon due to these weather conditions being the end of August, coming into our September months, and the multitude of peanut bunker and spearing which they seem to thrive on. If you're looking for a larger bluefish, they were really tough to find. You might want to go out to the areas Middle Grounds, Crane's Neck, out by Bayville to pull these fish up. Stick to fresh bunker, try trolling, or look to jigging out in the 11B area. Most of the jigging that's gone on has been, again, fish up to 3 to 4 pounds in the bluefish category.
Now from the Energizer himself, aloha to Hawaiian Dan.
Thanks, Tim. Aloha from Hawaiian Dan of TalkFishTV.com, reporting for the Fisherman magazine. Again, out here in the field, as always, doing our very best to provide you with the latest information so we can help put you on the fish. Had so much fun this morning. Saw a flock of gulls running down the beach. Of course, I ran after them 2 or 3 miles later, and winded this old man is. And I found out they're just snapper bluefish underneath them. So the fish are still here. Snappers are on the move right now. So remember just to cover a lot of ground. A simple metal jig will work. The best thing about that is you can work the top, middle, and bottom water columns. So until next week, this is Hawaiian Dan from TalkFishTV.com telling you to get off that couch, get out there and fish. Now back to you, Tim. Aloha!
Senior editor Fred Golofaro has this week's surf report.
I know it's starting to sound like a broken record, but again, this week, really, Montauk is the place to be. Spoke to Paul at Paulie's Tackle Shop in Montauk. There's been big bluefish right up through Tuesday along the north side, catching them in the daytime on pencil poppers, and at night. Guys that are targeting stripers are catching big bluefish on darters and needlefish. There are bass in Montauk. It's those small fish, primarily hearing of very few, actually no quality fish and very few keepers. But a lot of the small fish, they're on the sand beach from town all the way down through Napeague, and they're also on the south side in the rocks. Most of that fishing's been on bucktails. If you're fishing at night, you'll catch them on needles or darters. Really not a whole lot going on everywhere else. The heat hasn't helped either. But I know Moriches Inlet, they've had blues from 3 to 5 pounds, and there's small bass in the back of Cupsog. The blues in the inlet are mostly on like 007 jigs or A17 jigs in the inlet. There's also a dredging project ready to take off in Moriches Inlet. Remember, it shoaled up real bad with those northeasters in the winter. It's cleared up a little bit, but this dredging project's going to go on. They've already moved equipment into the area, and it's set to go off pretty soon. I don't know yet what effect it's going to have, if any, on access, but we'll keep you tuned into that. To the west, there's a nice shot of Spanish mackerel in Jones Inlet early in the week. Not hearing about too much else down that way. Jerry at Bernie's Tackle Shops in Sheepshead Bay said there's been small bass, very small blues, like 1 pound type stuff, and also some albies at Breezy Point, mostly early in the morning, daybreak kind of thing. Phil up at Cow Harbor finally had a report of some bluefish up on the North Shore. Nothing big, 3 to 4 pounders, but he said they've been along Asheroken and also Eaton's Neck, and they're on Peanut Bunker. There's loads of Peanut Bunker along that part of the sound, along the beaches there. Hey, we got the surf show coming up. It's coming up quick. It's Wednesday, September 12th. It's at the Huntington Hilton. Hours are 6 to 11 p.m. We got some good speakers lined up. Bill Wetzel, Crazy Al, of course. We got Al Gaggs is coming down from Rhode Island, and also we got Matt Broderick, Young Sharpie, all talking surf. It's also an inshore show, so there's also some inshore seminars. Guys like Captain John Paduano, Captain John Raguso, so if you want to catch on some of that, switch off a little bit, you have an opportunity to do that. We're going to have over 85 vendors. First 600 people get a doggy bag, or a goodie bag, I should say. And we got the free raffle. Always great prizes in the free raffle, including a Van Slow reel. So come on down. I'll see you there. Till next week, Fred Golofaro here for thefisherman.com.
Earlier, you heard Captain Joey Leggio's report about the sharking and lots of mahi and close. Other than that, I did get a report from Captain Matt Fitz of Neptune Charters. He fished all morning around the Cambria, and not much to show for until this bluefin hit his bird in 30 wide. Nice job. On another note, anglers, please dispose of your fish parts properly. Late this afternoon, in the 90-degree heat, I was greeted with the stench of a rotting tuna head behind my boat. Yes, initially the rack sinks to the bottom, but eventually the decomposing carcass will float back up to the surface. If I catch you, expect to get your tuna head back. Upcoming events: September 1st, we have the Patchogue Snapper Derby. September 12th, the Fisherman Surf and Inshore Show at the Huntington Hilton. September 21st to the 23rd is the Montauk Surf Fishing Classic. Remember, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat contest. Get out there and catch 'em up. This is Tim C. Smith for thefisherman.com. Win the incredible Steiger Craft, Evinrude, Loran's Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.